You know, the citizens in China are really kind of in panic mode right now over this whole Wuhan coronavirus thing. There's a lot of misinformation going on there. 90,000 are infected, 2,000 are infected. So they're kind of in a bit of a panic mode. And then the government's kind of in a weird damned if you do and damned if you don't situation. So this is pretty interesting, though, and this kind of really shows the amount of panic that the citizens are having right now. The coronavirus quarantine center is firebombed. This is from both Daily Mail and the Associated Press. Some of it's from the Daily Mail, some of it's from the Associated Press. Hong Kong rioters torch housing complex as city bans anyone who has set foot in Hubei in the last 14 days from entering. Protesters hurled Molotov cocktails at a public housing complex Sunday night. It had been earmarked to become a temporary quarantine zone for coronavirus. Hong Kong, which so far has 6 confirmed cases, is braced for infections. But dozens of local residents are opposed to having the facility in their area. And what are you going to do? Quite honestly, I mean, I can see their standpoint. I can see the government's standpoint. Look, this is a center where, they have quarantined it. You want to set up a place where you can house people. But then you got to look at it from the people's standpoint as well. They're looking at it as, well, you're going to bring people here who are infected to quarantine them in this housing complex. Well, that ups the chances that we're going to get infected, and so they're scared, and they're firebombing. So there's multiple sides to the story, and each side believes that they are correct. So what side do you take? Among other ramped-up measures to reduce the risk of further infections, officials proposed using the building to house suspected victims, as well as frontline medical staff worried about infecting their families. But dozens of angry local residents and protesters opposed to the measures set up roadblocks outside the complex before riot police moved in with tear gas. Now, I do gotta say, I can see, really, if I was a resident there and you're telling me that frontline medical staff who are worried about infecting their families are going to stay there, but who cares if they're worried about infecting us? That would kind of make me feel not so secure in the idea either. I would voice my opinion. I wouldn't obviously use the actions that they're using, but they're desperate and they're looking for attention and they want to stop it. And multiple layers. Who's correct, right? Let's see. An AFP photographer on the scene saw fierce flames coming from the entrance of 2 apartment blocks before firefighters got the blaze under control. Riot police were controlling the area and protesters had left, although some local residents were arguing with officers who used pepper spray. The Center for Health Protection said the plan to turn the housing estate into a quarantine zone would be suspended. Of course it's going to be suspended. The place was just firebombed, and the people in that area have voiced their opinion that they don't want it in their neighborhood. But then here's the problem. Where do you put it? You've got to have it somewhere, and everybody's going to have not in my hood attitude. Think about it. You're sitting at home watching this video right now, and you hear that they're going to put a Wuhan coronavirus quarantine center on your block. And in that quarantine center are people who work in the front lines of the virus, and they're afraid of getting their families infected, so they're going to come here instead of going home. How would that make you feel? Would you feel secure? Let me know. Just real quick, I wanted to get this out there, and I'll see you guys on the next one. But don't go overly panicking yet. Just kind of be aware. Definitely in China and Hong Kong, they are kind of in panic mode, but there is a lot of misinformation out there. So I'll try to keep up on all the little bits of news. They might not be long videos like this one. They'll just be little short ones because I want to get you the news as it happens, as I see it, to the best of my capabilities. Bear in mind, with my technology and YouTube, it does take a while for these videos for me to upload. Every 10 minutes is probably about a good hour and a half, 2 hours of work. So give me a thumbs up for that, at least. It would make me feel so much better. I love you guys. I'll keep you informed, and I will see you on the next one.